we actually had an active conversation that um divorce was not going to be an option.
Mhm.
I love that. Y'all
Um,
talk. Y'all
we
active conversation between
It
active
is. It is
conversation
not a
Yeah.
what
between
this
us. Yeah,
prior to marriage.
yes, yes.
This is not no not prior to marriage, but during the roughest times, like in the first 2-3 years or
Yeah.
whatever, the roughest times.
And there were
Um,
times where we wanted it to be.
yeah,
We're not sitting up here saying, "Oh, it was all flowers and
by no
daffodils."
stretch of the
But
imagination, that would be a
something,
lie.
yeah,
Not no
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
stress.
not
yeah,
gonna.
no
Yeah, we're
stretch.
not gonna lie to
No,
nobody
but
about
to
that.
our core, it was not going to be an option.
Yeah.
It wasn't
And I
even a
think
word.
because it was never anything we threw around. You know how people say, "I'm gonna leave, and
Yeah.
it was never anything to come out like that. And I think because we meant it in our core, then God surrounded us with people
Mhm.
to support us.
Yeah.
So there was a time when we were going through a really bad rough patch for a couple of years. I'm not talking about a couple of weeks, a couple of years.
Mhm.
And um I just was done. I
Mhm.
really was done. And I called my girlfriend and back in Virginia, and I was like, "Look, me and the boys are coming back." And she was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, I just can't do it anymore. I'm just done." And she was like, "Well, if you and Tony and the boys
Ooh,
Mm.
want to
ooh,
come back,
ooh.
Oop,
Oh. Oh.
That's the friend we need.
that's okay."
Wow.
And
Woo.
and I was hot because I knew her first. Okay, I was like, "You were my friend first."
Wow.
And she said no, because she had a strong relationship with God, and she was like, "No." Now, if all y'all want to come, y'all are welcome, and take as long as you need. But
Wow.
you and the boys, no. And I mean, I was hot.
I
I was
bet.
hot at her, like,
With me having to relearn, reprocess, rethink what sex was, that was like taking a part of my identity away.
Just because you may need to seek help or you may be in transition and things may not be right, it doesn't necessarily mean that your marriage is bad.
Marriage is a roller coaster ride that never ends.
From the twists of having children, to the turns of overly involved parents, or the highs of buying a new home, to the lows of unexpected lifestyle changes.
Marriage is dope, but let's be honest, fam. Marriage really be tiring.
Welcome to the Left Hand Gang podcast, hosted by Jazz and Spoon.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome to the Left Hand Gang podcast.
What up, gang?
How you doing, big mama?
I'm doing okay. I'm not sure how I feel about the weather change.
Okay, let's
Like,
talk about it.
I wanted it to get cooler, but I don't know if I was actually ready for it.
Okay.
Because when I went outside, I had on a crew neck and I had on some biker shorts, and it was a little too cold. So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. But other than that, I'm good.
So like halfway you was dressed for it, and the other half you
Yeah,
weren't.
it wasn't ready. My legs weren't ready. Saturday was like 55.
Yeah, it just came in.
And then it's gone, I think.
Yeah, it's probably
Today it was cold.
it was a little cooler.
Yeah.
It's gonna come back. You know that Texas weather bipolar. You get all 4 seasons in one day. That's just how it is.
Facts.
You get them
Facts.
all out here.
Yeah, but I'm good. How about you?
I'm all right. It's been a busy day. You know, I've been out here trying to make something shake. Oh, I hear your son. Been trying to make something shake. It's been a crazy day. We trying to help my mama get ready for that event that she has, and we was down a car, and then I had to go get the tire fixed today. So, and then in tune, we had a meeting, and we trying to get these events together. Speaking of which, so I don't know if any of y'all know. So myself, my best friend Robert, DJ Nightcrawler, and his brother Daniel, we've all joined forces, and we've started this sound production company. Well, they really started, and I got on late, but we have a sound production company, and we be doing all kind of stuff. So if you got some needs for your events, you need some speakers, DJs, technicians, we got you covered. That's what we do. And we also curate our own events and experiences. So yeah, y'all be on the lookout for more stuff from In Tune Productions. That's In Tune Productions. Since I'm shouting people out, we got sponsors, I think.
I think we do have sponsors.
Who they is?
We have Light with Purpose.
Light with Purpose.
they just launched their fall line. If
Yeah,
you follow
yeah,
us,
yeah.
you saw that we shared that. Get you some candles, y'all. The holidays are coming up. And you can get 15% off if you use the code LIGHTGANG.
Mhm.
And so that is lightwithpurpose.com. We also have Icy Brand. They have it's a clothing line. Shout out to them for sponsoring us as well. And if you use our code Icy Gang, how much is it off?
10%.
10% off. You can get you some new fits or buy somebody else something and be generous.
Yeah, that would be nice. So yeah, Light with Purpose, they just dropped 2 new candles, Cozy Pecan and Toasted. I'm really interested.
I'm really interested, and I don't like. I said this before. I don't like fall scents that much, like the spice and the, like the pumpkin and all. I don't like that.
That ain't your
But the
vibe.
way that they describe these,
Yeah.
I feel intrigued.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
Toasted. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, toasted.
Cozy,
Okay.
cozy pecan. Is it pecan or pecan?
I think it depends on where you're from.
Pecan. Mr. Tony said it's pecan.
What you say, Miss Lisa?
I said pecan.
Pecan. Okay. So we're gonna go with pecan. If you saying pecan,
You can't sit with us.
you can't sit
No,
with
I'm
us.
just playing.
There's no room at the end for you.
Yeah, I don't use.
Yeah.
I don't use pecan.
Yeah, pecan. So, man, I'm excited for what we got going on today. Who we have hanging out with. We got some seasoned vets.
Some seasoned
So, like,
vets.
we started the podcast, the Left Hand Gang, but they've been Left Hand Ganging longer than we've been alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've been doing this thing for a while. So
Yeah.
we got Miss Lisa, Mr. Tony, Francois in the building.
Hey, what's going
Woo,
on?
woo, Francois.
Wow.
Francois.
Yes.
Man, really happy and excited to have y'all on with us. For this
Thanks for having
episode.
me.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. So, how do we know y'all? Like, where y'all come from?
Oh, okay. Jazz Mama is my best friend.
Okay.
Yup.
Okay.
We've been friends. I've been friends with her mom for forever.
Mm,
And we all at one time used to go to the same church.
mm,
And then Jazz and my sons were at school. Oh, yeah.
We went to community college.
Went to, yeah. So they knew each other. And then we don't know strangers. So
Mm.
Right.
once we know, yeah. We've been on for life ever since then.
So that's how
yeah.
I got looped in.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
got looped in. You got looped
Okay.
in through the
I
blood, through the blood.
Through the
I
blood.
spent many evenings and days at y'all's house playing board games,
Yes.
hanging out with the boys.
Yes.
We were on the dance team at church together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did all the things. We was running
All
the
the
streets.
things.
Not really running the streets. We were pretty good kids.
Yeah.
I
Y'all
run the
actually
streets.
were
yeah,
very
I mean,
good
we
kids.
were
to
really
be
good
honest
kids.
with
Suburbs.
you.
You couldn't
Yeah.
run so far.
We would go to the club once a month.
Yeah.
If that.
If that. That was about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So So we've been family ever since.
Man, it's so glad to. I'm so glad to have y'all on. So what's y'all's story? How did y'all meet?
First of
and
all, who are y'all? What y'all do?
okay, well, fine.
Oh,
Just cut me off.
Uh,
Well, we were about to talk about them as a unit. I was wondering,
Oh, okay.
Good.
Well, go ahead. You got it, sister girl.
all right. Well, I'm Anthony, Francois, Tony. Retired Navy, air control. I used to control aircraft hunting for submarines, and once I retired from the military, then obviously nobody's hunting for submarines in the real world.
Mhm.
Dang.
So I had to figure out something else. Started doing construction, and I was construction manager for a few years. Built a couple of things, and then went to the IT, go inside, so don't have to deal with the heat as much.
Mhm.
That's what I'm doing now for another 5 years and 232 days.
Yeah. Count down.
Count 'em
Count
down.
down.
Count 'em down.
Count down.
Well, I am Lisa Francois. I am a registered nurse. I've worked in various capacities as a RN. Currently, I am a school nurse in Garland. Have been doing that for 14 years. And I, too, have 5 years left until retirement. So we are on the countdown. I graduated from Howard University. HU. Got to put it out there.
Mhm.
We have 3 boys and 2 grandsons.
And we've been married 36 years.
And we've been married 36 years.
That's our whole life.
Yeah.
Our whole
36.
and then some.
36.
We gonna dig into that because y'all got the tea on how
Yeah.
to.
Y'all really got the secret ingredient.
Yeah. I'm sorry, baby. I cut you off. You were about to ask.
I don't even remember.
I think you were probably gonna ask them how'd y'all meet.
Yeah.
How did
what's
y'all?
What's y'all
where did the
story?
36 years start?
Okay. I'm gonna let her.
See.
Oh, y'all got two different
her-
stories.
stories.
I'm gonna let her give her description.
Okay.
and
Not
then
a story, a
And then I'm
description.
gonna tell you what happened.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Bet.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I was at Howard University, and Tony was in the military. He was in the Navy, and the closest person that he knew from home was a friend of mine that went to Howard. So he was stationed in Virginia, and of course we were at Howard in DC. So it's like a little over 3 hours away. And so he came up to see. Her name was Stephanie. He had actually gone to.
I had a brand new
Yeah,
Let 'em know.
Chevette,
Yeah.
1984,
Hey.
$400 down payment.
Yeah.
Car notes was $156
$156
for 3 years.
Man.
Yeah,
Oh, that's crazy.
What a time.
You can't
That is-
get nothing.
You can't get
A
get
month.
gas for $150.
Not for a month.
No, not for a month. Not for a month.
Wow.
Man.
But so we met there, and actually when we met, we were dating other people,
Mhm.
and so we were friends first
Mhm.
because we were dating other people, and we just clicked. Had a lot of
You gotta tell her how
Okay, so
why was I different?
Okay.
I will tell why he was different.
Yeah.
So, when I met him in the fall, I think at
In the
first,
fall.
and he was just fresh out of boot camp, so he didn't have any facial hair, anything. Always a real cool person. And then I got to see him again later, and he had a little mustache and stuff. And you
Yeah.
know, when you're in college, you
Yeah.
broke.
Yeah.
And we were in DC, so guys were just different.
Mm.
And Tony was just very old school manners, gentleman. And of course, like I said, we were broke. And so one time he took us all out. It was a group of us that hung out together, guys and girls. And he treated us to Burger King.
Yeah.
The whole crew.
The whole crew.
The whole crew.
Everybody.
$17.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
$17. I
I
had
mean,
it all.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
Hey, he
One
paid
$20
bills.
bill.
No.
He can't,
He can treat
you know,
everybody.
like we ain't even had to split a meal.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
did
Everybody
Get what
got
you
that.
want.
Eat what
Yeah.
you
What
want.
you want.
Okay. You
So
get a
what-
meal.
Medium fried.
So
You
what?
know, get a meal.
What year was this?
This was in
80. No.
85?
84.
84.
graduated-
We
yeah,
graduated high school in
84.
84.
Okay, so
84.
84,
Yeah,
$17 would have been about $73, $74 today.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. So
For
back
five-
then,
for 5 meals is probably 5 times
Mhm.
9,
Yeah.
$45.
yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
he just stood out. Just
Mhm.
he was very kind. He was a very a gentleman,
Mhm.
and definitely according to DC guys, he was very different. So that part, and then you could just have a conversation. And so I remember we were talking, and we were like, why they always gotta try to hook people up? Why can't you just have friends and be able to talk and yada yada yada? And then
Now this was after so we were no longer in a relationship.
Uh-huh.
This
Okay.
was like 7-8 months later.
later. Yeah.
Okay.
When we first
And-
met, we were in a relationship.
Okay.
And then 7 or 8 months later, we both were not in a relationship.
Right.
Okay.
And then some of our friends was like, y'all should get together, but we didn't see it initially right away. And,
And
we
so
just
y'all were having the conversation about why they
We
always
were
trying
sitting out.
Yeah, we were just
sitting on
saying,
the
yeah.
on the
and the
floor.
Holy Spirit was like,
yeah.
on the floor in the hallway at the Woodner.
Yeah.
We just sitting on
Sitting
the floor in the
hall,
hallway.
'cause it
We
was a
sat
bunch
out
of
there
us,
for like
and then, you know,
3 or 4
everyone-
hours.
and just having a conversation. I was like, why can't people just let you be friends? Why
Right.
I always said try to be the hookup. So I think the biggest thing is that when we first met, because we were friends, we weren't overly trying to impress each other.
Yeah,
so
it
we
wasn't
could-
no rush.
we were being genuinely ourselves, and so I
Mhm.
think that was helpful.
yeah.
So
And
You want to go clean anything up?
No, actually, that's very accurate.
Okay.
Very,
Okay,
very accurate.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Miss
And
Lisa got some cool points.
I
Yeah.
Now she did do a couple of outlandish things, like when I
Okay.
did come back with the
Oh,
mustache, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
oh,
So that
okay.
it must have been the mustache must
So,
have made
okay.
a difference. So when I initially came up to visit, I knocked on my friend's door. She wasn't there. So I knew Lisa stayed right across the hall. They really own that whole hallway, y'all
Yeah.
did. So I knocked on the door and she answered the door and she saw me and she passed out.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
not. I did
Okay.
not
Yeah,
pass
yeah.
Okay.
out.
Okay.
It's just okay when he came to the door. Like I said, he looked different because he had a little
Oh, so
mustache and stuff.
you was like, oh, he fine now.
Oh,
He ain't got a
yeah.
baby face.
Face.
Yeah, you see what I'm
Yeah.
You
saying?
grown.
So
Yeah.
when he walked past my girl, I was behind him like that and stuff, and then they were laughing. But then when he would turn around, I was like, I don't know why they tripping. I don't know what's up with them. So he said I got a little woozy. I didn't
Oh.
literally
Yeah,
pass
yeah.
out,
I mean,
but I
Okay.
was.
Well, you did hit a knee.
Yeah. She
She
had
took a
knee.
knee.
Like, yeah.
This was
That
before.
stash,
This
they
was before
better sit
college.
down.
This was
Yeah,
before
way
college.
before college, yeah. He
Yeah.
stole that actually.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. So yeah.
But
Yeah.
I do remember you telling me that where you lived, and then I fully understood how close it was to the Navy base
Mm-hmm.
that I was at. It was like 20 minutes when she was away from college, back at home.
Mhm.
No, you good.
But once I found that out, then once you come back home, let me get your number, and then I can come over. Maybe we can catch a movie or something. And ended up catching a movie.
Do you
Once
remember
or
what it was?
twice. The Last Dragon.
It was the last.
The
Dragon.
Last
Man,
Dragon.
Bruce Leroy.
Wow.
Yeah, Bruce Leroy.
Bruce Leroy.
Bruce Leroy.
Show enough.
Will
Yeah.
do it
Is
every
that what
time.
it was?
Yeah.
Oh my
Uh-huh.
gosh, I remember
And that was a
that.
good movie too.
Yeah,
It
it was a
was
good
a
movie.
pretty good movie.
Yep.
I have seen that.
We met and we went to that movie. I think maybe a month and a half later or something happened. I was getting ready to go overseas. I went overseas for 6 months.
Yeah.
And I was trying to visit with her again before I left, and something with the car or something like that. I wasn't able
The
to.
new car?
No, no.
Because-
I had
$56 payments?
my car was actually in Louisiana because I was
Oh.
getting ready to leave for 6 months, so I had
Okay.
given it to my mom to hold. Um,
You didn't remember when
couldn't find the
your
house. That's what. It was.
because the 2 times we had gone out, I had gone to pick him up, so he had never physically.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, we didn't
right.
have
my
cell
house.
phones.
You ain't
None.
had.
And
no,
you
ain't
got-
had
you
no
can't
cell
pull up
phone.
the
It wasn't even
GPS.
no beepers back then.
and
either.
look-
Yeah, you had a beeper?
No.
No.
you
You had a physical
A map.
map.
The map.
Like, you was
map.
literally
Okay.
looking at the map.
a map. Yeah.
And so we were supposed to get together one more time, and we didn't. And so I was kind of thrown off, like that's not like,
he
him,
stood,
or what's
he
up?
stood you up kind of
Yeah,
thing?
kind
That's
of
how
thing.
she felt.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so I remember, you can tell the times. I remember asking my mom, like, "Is it too forward for me to write him a letter?" And she said,
Yeah,
"Well,
they had to do that
they
back
wrote
in the
a
day.
wrote a
That is so
letter. This
cute.
is so funny." And so she said, "Well, no, I think you can write a letter, but she said just write once. If he doesn't respond, and you leave it alone." And so then I wrote him a letter, and he was like, "Oh, I'm so glad you wrote me." And I tried to find it, I got lost, and I had to go back, and blah blah blah. And so then he was like, "My ship comes in 6 months, and I would love for you to be there or whatever and stuff." And
This
so,
is like a movie.
And she was on the pier.
and I was on the
Oh.
pier.
Sure was. And
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
sweet baby.
she was there. And went over to the house.
And we
And
were supposed to put
I
this-
hadn't been to sleep in like 48 hours. They call it channel fever. When you've been out for so long,
Mhm.
you ready to come home. You can't even sleep. You just ready to come home. And she was there. I went over to the house. We were supposed to be putting up the Christmas tree.
which was a big deal in my family.
And I
And-
passed out.
He was out.
Oh, so
Knocked
now
out
you
cold.
passing out.
Now
Yeah.
you passed
I passed out. I mean literally passed out sleep.
Yeah.
and I
and
couldn't wake him up.
Couldn't wake me up.
And then I panicked, like, what is my mom?
I had
gonna
already
say?
met her mom and dad before, but
Mhm.
not to the point where I'm supposed to be spending the night at
Yeah.
nobody's
My
house.
parents
Yeah.
were still
Nothing
old
like
school.
that.
They were
Yeah.
like-
Yeah.
And so I told mom, she said, "Well, don't worry about it and stuff." So he was downstairs and everything. But what's funny, my dad, nobody told my dad. So
Oh,
he came
man.
home from work. He worked like 3 to 11. He was a security
Oh.
guard. And so he came home. It was like,
It was like 1 o'clock in the morning.
yeah, he was like,
And
what?
I had to get up to go use the restroom. and and I didn't remember anything, and I went and tried to tell her. I was like, "Hey, I'm not supposed to be here."
Yeah.
She was like, "My mama said it's okay." Okay, I was like, "Okay." And then when I came around that corner, he was right there, and he was a security guard. So he take his pistol off and said, "I'm like, oh, bro, I ain't even do nothing." She said I could stay.
And he was like, "Well, I know if you hear, my wife said it was okay." And so that was
Yeah.
Wow.
that was that. That
And
was
then
how we met. And
we went. I think I went home for a couple of weeks, and then when I came back,
we
that's
started
when we
official.
well, while I was home, I think we spent the night on the phone, like for 6
6
hours.
hours talking on the phone.
Yeah,
And that's when you
man.
had to
I
pay
remember
for
those.
long distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had to pay for long distance.
Yeah, calling cards.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And then
They don't
what,
even have they
maybe
didn't even have calling cards yet.
They probably didn't.
They came out a little bit after that, the
Mm.
calling
dating
cards.
ourselves.
We are,
It's
We
all
are dating.
good.
We are really dating ourselves.
I'm
Hey.
okay
So,
with it though. I mean, it is what it is.
And so y'all dated after you came back.
yeah.
For a
and
while.
How did y'all? What was that progression like from dating to I think you're actually going to be my husband or my wife? What? How did y'all know that?
Um, that's a very good question.
How long did y'all date?
Long time.
We dated.
We met in '84. We officially started dating
in
like '85.
5,
No, '86.
86.
January '86. You met me on the pier in December
Yeah,
21st,
yeah,
'85.
Mm.
I know the date. December
Mhm.
21st. When we
Well,
came
it
back
wasn't
in.
that long because
And
then we got
then-
married in '87, and then
Oh.
the wedding in
Oh yeah, about
Yeah.
18 months.
Oh, you
18
saying
months.
long? Y'all dated for
I
a
knew
long
her,
time.
but I mean,
that's
I
not-
knew her a long.
Oh, yeah,
that
knew
makes
her-
sense.
We
I
knew
knew her
Sig-
for 3 years,
That
but
makes
we
sense.
didn't.
so
yeah,
we were officially a couple for 18 months.
18
I guess.
months.
Wow,
I
that's pretty
think I
fast.
knew him. I knew he could be the one for me because of his character. He's
Mm.
very much like my dad. My dad was in the Navy, and Tony was in the Navy. He handled his business. Not that he was, flowing with money, but he just took care of
Yeah.
business. He took care of himself, and he was very respectful of me. And so I appreciated that,
Mhm.
especially like even when he said he came in, and he was like, it was like he wanted to throw it out there. He said, "Well, I could get a room." I said, "Well, I can drop you off if you want to."
And that's
Get a
when I
room.
knew that was gonna be my wife.
Mm.
Real talk, because I did. I said I can get a room over here at the Navy Lodge, and she said, "Well, I could drop you off," and she dropped me off,
Mhm.
and she went home, and I knew right then. I was like, "So that's my wife,"
Mm.
for the simple reason that she didn't come upstairs with me.
Mhm.
Real talk. And couple of, I guess it was a little while later, maybe I knew for sure when her senior year rolled around at college, and I paid the tuition, so I already knew that was gonna be my wife, and we wasn't
Okay.
even married yet.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I already knew. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I was actually, it was before that because I went overseas, and we weren't married, and I had back then you get a physical check.
Mm. Yeah.
They had allotments.
Mm.
It was a check. The government would mail my money to her house, and on the ship overseas, I would keep like $100. All the rest of my money was sent to her,
Mm.
and she would pay all my bills. And I was gone for 6 months, and I came back, and Lisa was like, "This how much money you have." And I
Mm.
have $7 and she kept it separated. It was like, you got
can't.
this and I got this, right? I was like, she paid all my bills on time, all that. And this is my girlfriend.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And she was more concerned about the fact that because one of my bills, I think my insurance had to be paid to my daddy.
Well, I
And
just
she was
didn't want
more
him to
concerned
think,
about
like, who is
her
this
writing a
woman
check to
writing
my
checks
daddy
and
Yeah.
for my stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, who is
Yeah.
this Thompson lady?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Writing
And I
your
didn't
checks.
I didn't want, him or his family to think
Yeah.
I'm trying to get over or anything. So I always he was like, if you need something, I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm like, I might have $11, but it was
But,
like, I'm
yeah.
good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
So I just kept it separate.
That's
and took
wifey
care of
material
itself.
right there.
So
That's what.
Wifey material.
Yeah,
right
I
there.
mean, I already knew because, like I said, we weren't even actually
Engaged or anything. We
engaged
were
at
just
that point.
girlfriend.
We
Yeah.
were just girlfriend and boyfriend at that
Mhm.
point. Yeah,
Wow.
I was perfectly fine with that. Yeah,
Mm.
it's no big deal.
N-
She was trustworthy,
yeah.
for real.
Now we have a funny thing. When we did get married, so we have two um wedding
Wedding
dates or
dates.
so.
Oh, y'all got
So
married twice.
yes.
That's usually pandemic people.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to hear what y'all
Yeah.
story is.
So at the time, Tony was trying to go to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, to be stationed.
Yeah.
But to
Oops,
for
sorry.
us to go together, you had to be married for a period of time before. So on August 28th in '87, we went to the Justice of the Peace and got married. And we didn't tell. We told one of my sisters and one of his sisters.
I think I
And
told
Y'all didn't even tell your
nobody-
parents.
We didn't
No.
know. We didn't tell our
My
parents.
mama just found out
Because-
last year.
What?
We've been married for 35 years because we
Then-
was gonna do something.
And so then we did that at a Justice of Peace, and then a few months later, January 2nd in '88, we had a wedding.
Mm.
And the funny thing about that is that the night before the wedding, we had to explain to the pastor
Oh.
The date.
because we
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
have the wedding license.
Certificate,
So
yeah.
at first, I mean, we already had one.
Yeah.
And so at first, he was like, well, I got to look into this because I don't want to do something and mess up my life. This is literally the night before the wedding.
Mm.
Oh,
And we're
wow.
like, oh my God,
We
what
was
is
getting
going to
ready to go to
happen?
rehearsal.
And so then he found out, oh, okay, it's okay. He said, I tell you, you young people come up with stuff. And so, we had a little souvenir one
Uh-huh.
at the wedding. And so we was like, well, Pastor, should we tell, our parents? And he said, no, just let the sleeping dogs lie. Just let it lie. Just let it-
Y'all can have y'all day, but this will be their
Yeah.
day.
Their day, yeah.
And that's what it was. And
Yeah, for
I
many,
really,
many years.
literally-
And then, probably 10 years ago, the siblings all knew. But literally last year,
last year.
Wow.
his parents just found out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, and my parents, did we ever tell them?
Never.
Yeah,
Mm.
both of my parents
Never.
have passed. So we never did tell them.
Wow.
So
That's
So what day do
funny.
y'all celebrate for your anniversary?
so usually like I'll celebrate August 28th
Mhm.
and then he'll
do
celebrate
January
January
2nd.
2nd.
Oh, like y'all.
Mm.
Okay, I see.
Yeah,
what
so
you're
we're
saying.
just
she do what,
Uh-huh.
do something,
what-
yeah.
in charge of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Coordinate or
Coordinate.
Yeah.
plan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah.
so officially, what is that? 13, 23. So it's 36 and then January 2nd it'll be 36 years again.
Right.
So-
Gotcha.
Yeah.
36.1 and
Yes,
36.2
yes,
part
yeah.
2.
Yes, yes. So
That's
crazy,
funny.
Wow.
craziness.
That's so funny. So I gotta ask. So Mr. Tony, you first and foremost, I just love the blue socks. I love the coordination.
But thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
I
I'm a
love the
monochromatic
coordination.
kind of brother.
Yeah,
Blues
yeah.
all day, or it's
Oh,
all one color.
Yeah, I don't care what they say. Even if all your clothes do come in one package, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Hey,
You
I
and
ain't
your
worried. But
clothes.
look, I bought them like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you wanted it like that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's
That's
always
funny.
cheaper than a la carte. They tell you that at the
Not a la
restaurant.
carte.
They tell you that at the restaurant.
Yes,
If you
that's
get
true.
stuff separately, it's gonna cost
Mhm.
you.
Yep,
That's-
you gotta
that's
get
true.
it packaged.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's
That's true.
packaged.
That's it.
So, what was it about whenever you came back from 6 months overseas and you saw her at the pier? What spoke to you in that moment?
Well, the first thing was, okay, you just happy to see anybody you
Right.
know,
Right.
Right.
obviously,
Yeah.
But then to get all dolled up to come out there specifically to meet somebody, it's full well what the intention is. The only reason they out there, especially we talking December 21st, Virginia. It's cold
Yeah.
out there, and to come out there after really only communicating over the last 6 months
Through
via
letters.
letters,
Mm.
and being overseas, the mail system. I mean, it could be 3 days later from when she wrote the letter, but it could also be a month and a half later by the time I get the letter. So
Mm.
you got to kind of wait and put them in order and then read them because they tell a story, And I still got a whole bunch of them letters at the
Yeah,
house.
we still do.
Man.
We
Yeah.
still have a lot of
And
those letters.
so just I felt like I already knew her, because the only Lisa I really knew was the joking Lisa. We just had a good time. it was always a whole bunch of people around and stuff like that. So we just had fun together. But as the cruise went on and getting letters from her and stuff like that, and starting to learn a little bit more about her personally, and I really fell into like with her
Mm-hmm.
at that point.
Mm.
And then her being there on the pier and then spending those 2 weeks together before I left to go home for a little while. Um, it was something that I hadn't necessarily experienced before. Now,
Wow.
granted, I'm still a very young person,
Mm.
but there's a distinct difference between um, relations and relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was the first person that I was actually in a relationship with as a grown up.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's navigated a little bit differently than when you're kiddie,
Right.
you know, because everything is should be at that point on purpose and intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing you want to do is lead anybody down the road that you don't plan on going to the end of that road with.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where we make a lot of mistakes. We put the cart before the horse
Yeah.
a lot, and it's not necessarily that particular aspect of it, but the emotional aspect of it should always come first.
Man.
And we were able to build an emotional connection because, like we said, because she left and I stayed at the Navy Lodge, and then she came back at 10 o'clock the next morning and picked me up so we can go and continue the
Mm-hmm.
date the next day. Those type of things. Even though at the time, I'm pouting at the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
6 months and you gonna drop me off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But everything happens for a reason.
Right, right.
And I'm good right where I'm at.
Man.
Yeah. I'll be here for a long time.
Man, that's so amazing because there's so much. It's a progression of patience, and y'all were able to build emotional equity with one another throughout the process. I mean, in today's society, it ain't nothing but a text message, but y'all had to sit down, focus, put your attention, put pen to paper, and write it out. Or if y'all was doing typewriters, I don't know what y'all was doing then.
Yeah, but you know what? You mentioned the word patience.
Mm-hmm.
Two things come up when anybody asks me about my relationship with my wife,
Mm-hmm.
my old lady. That's what I really
Yeah.
call her. Okay. The first thing is I genuinely like my wife.
Yeah.
I like her.
Mm-hmm.
To me, love means I'm gonna jump in front of a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
But like mean, I'm willing to cook dinner. I'm gonna go get you some toilet paper when you can't go get it yourself. I like you. You know
I
what
like
I'm saying?
you.
I ain't gonna put you in a bad predicament.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I like you.
'Cause
I
I
like
like you.
being around you and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I think that's very important. And then the other thing is my wife's patience
Mm-hmm.
with me, our patience with each other. As we grew up, we got married at 20, 21 years old. You know what
Man.
I'm saying?
Not have been
So
alive at 20.
we had no growing up in us yet.
Yeah.
And so we had to grow up as a married
Yeah,
couple.
y'all grew up together.
Yeah.
That's very hard. That takes a lot of patience and a willingness to give a lot of do-overs.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so like today, we don't do do-overs. We don't give people, it's like one time and you're out of here.
Yeah.
In baseball, they give you 3 strikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
That's a
think-
game.
Yeah.
We talking about life for real. You can't even give them 3 strikes. And we talking about, and that's not okay, I only messed up once. I got 2 more times to go.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that at
Mhm.
all,
Yeah. I got you.
We actually had an active conversation that divorce was not going to be an option.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Y'all
Um,
talk, y'all
we
active conversation between
It
active
each
is.
other.
It is
conversation
not a what.
between
This
us. Yeah.
prior to marriage.
Yes.
This
Yes.
is. This is not. No, not prior to marriage, but during the roughest times, like in the first 2-3 years or
Yeah.
whatever, the roughest times.
And there were
Um,
times where we wanted it to be.
Yeah.
We're not sitting up here saying, "Oh, it was all flowers and
by no
daffodils."
stretch of the imagination, that would be a
Something,
lie.
yeah,
Not no
Yeah, and I'm
stretch.
not
yeah,
going.
no
Yeah, we're
stretch.
not going to lie to
No,
nobody
but
about
to
that.
our core, it was not going to be an option.
Yeah.
It wasn't
And
even
I
a
think
word.
because it was never anything we threw around. You know how people say, "I'm gonna leave, and you
Yeah.
know, it was never anything to come out like that. And I think because we meant it in our core, then God surrounded us with people
Mm.
to support us.
Yeah.
So there was a time when we were going through a really bad rough patch for a couple of years. I'm not talking about a couple of weeks, a couple of years.
Mm.
And I just was done. I
Mhm.
really was done. And I called my girlfriend and back in Virginia, and I was like, look, me and the boys are coming back. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, I just can't do it anymore. I'm just done. And she was like, well, if you and Tony and the boys
Ooh,
Mm.
want to
ooh,
come back,
ooh.
Oh. Oh.
That's the friend we need.
that's okay.
Wow.
And I was hot because I knew her first. Okay. I was like, you were my friend first,
Wow.
And she said no, because she had a strong relationship with God, and she was like, no. Now, if all y'all want to come, y'all welcome, and take as long as you need. But
Wow.
you and the boys, no. And I mean, I was hot.
I
I was
bet.
hot at her, like
Because you had already made your plans.
I had made my plan, and she was part of it.
Right.
Okay.
It's like how we do God. I'm doing this.
This-
Lord, I need you to bless
Bless it. Okay. This is what I've come up with.
Right.
So you need to make these things and put it in an arrangement.
Right.
But there were many times that we had friends and family to help us, to pray for us, to encourage us, to listen to our foolishness, but not in a
Judgmental.
not judgmental, and not realistically entertain it. It's like,
Mhm.
let me just let you
Yeah.
get it out your system.
Yeah.
But
Oh, that's
not.
good.
But
So
then
that was
another
just
thing, though, I think is we didn't go telling everybody our business either. So I remember my mother-in-law used to tell her. She told me this before. She was like, "Don't come tell me nothing that you gonna be over in 2 days, because it's gonna take me 6 months to get over it. I don't want to be mad at nobody."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what she would tell her. She would tell me the same thing, because I had a very good relationship with my mother-in-law, and yeah, she was like, "Don't tell me nothing about Lisa that you gonna be over in 2 days, and then
Have
I'm
me
gonna be
up here,
holding
man,
a
hold
grudge for
grudges."
6 months."
Yeah.
And she didn't even do anything to me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because my mother-in-law she wouldn't take sides. She was just fair. Period.
With what she saw.
Yeah.
And one thing I do, I'm just jumping out there, but it's so important to me for young couples that I see. You have to have at least one or two married Christian friends
Yep.
that you regularly interact with
As a couple.
Mhm.
because what I'm seeing and observing, and not just picking on younger people married, but it's just because marriage is not as popular, because biblical marriage is certainly not popular.
Right.
So you have people doing marriage in many islands. And I'm not saying you got to get rid of all your single friends, nothing like that. But nothing is the same as that covenant relationship between
Right.
a husband and wife. I don't care if they've been boyfriend and girlfriend for 15 years. It is not the same.
Yep.
And what helps you
I agree.
sometimes is that when you get together, even if it's once a month, and I'm not even saying it's got to be a session where you talking about what he did.
No, just
Just
go
live
hang
life.
out with.
Because
yeah.
life
Yeah.
be lifing and stuff will just come up
Yep.
at the at the golf course, over dinner, at a movie, at a picnic, at a concert. Stuff will just come up
Mhm.
as God deems it necessary.
Yeah.
And then that person can relate, can encourage you. Maybe they're just coming out of something, you're getting ready to go in, or just having someone different. I use a lot of analogies when I've done Bible studies and things, and it's like I'm gonna make the stew the same way I know how to make it all my life.
Mhm.
But until I talk to somebody different, it's never gonna dawn on me, oh, well, I never put that in mine. Let me try to put that in mine.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing with relationships.
That's good.
I only know how to come from it the way I know how to come from it,
Right.
the life experiences I have. But having a conversation with you, someone I respect that's in a similar, you're married, you're a Christian, you're trying to figure this out. And then you may say, well, what I heard you say, or what I heard in this situation. It's like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. So it's imperative that you have 1 to 2 married couples that you get together regularly with. And once a month, I mean, I'm not saying every week. I know
Yeah.
people got schedules and doing things, but to hold you accountable, to encourage you, to walk this life with you. And I just get so sad when I see so many young relationships that could have made it, but either they, not saying that's the only thing, but I look at them and I'm like, they don't have one married
They
couple,
have no
friend
community.
Yeah.
to even non-biblical. They don't even have any married
Yeah.
friends, or
that
something.
community is
So
important.
I think also by being in community with other couples and stuff like that, what you come to realize is what we dealing with is regular,
Mm-hmm.
not
Mhm.
abnormal.
Yep.
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 You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, because when you
Yep.
out there on that island by yourself, you think, woe is me, only
Yep.
this is only happening to me. And then you
Mhm.
come to find out, well,
You
she don't put
too?
the toothpaste over on the
Okay.
cap on the toothpaste over at her house either.
Yeah.
That's
So
so
it's
good.
not just your house. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I've always said it might be kind of wrong, I'm not sure, but when you're in community with other people, you come to find out also that what you fussing about, you wasting time. These people
Mhm.
got real issues, man.
Yeah.
And so you kind of can tell, like, maybe we're not so bad as we thought
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
were. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And or at the same time, and you can learn from somebody else's maybe more difficult situation.
Yeah.
But mainly, I used to take it honestly to realize we not as bad as we think. We
Mhm.
we
And
we,
that doesn't
we
have to
beating
be like a
ourselves
pointing our
up.
finger, like making fun of them. That's a humbling
No, not
thing.
to
If-
not to
Yes.
make
and
fun of
Mhm.
from a
anybody.
place of grace, like thank you, Lord.
Thank you,
you.
Lord.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Lord.
It
You
could
know,
be
this
so
is
worse.
this is how much worse it could be.
Yeah.
Yep.
It could be what we dealing with on top of that, on top
Mhm.
of parents have to move in because they're too much they're older now and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And so at least all we have to deal with is what we're dealing
Yeah.
with on not on top of additional
Right.
struggles,
Yeah.
So
Those are some really, really good tips.
Mhm.
And as y'all were saying it, I'm thinking, yes, I see that we've only been married 4 years, but community is essential.
It's essential.
absolutely.
And like you said, Christian married couples.
Yes.
Because I can't go talk to my single friends, and that doesn't mean that I don't ever talk to them about things, and it doesn't
Right.
mean that I disregard them.
But they're just not there.
Yeah, but
Right.
you do need, just like they need single women to walk them
Walk
through
Right.
what
with
it looks like to
exactly.
be waiting for a husband.
And
'Cause
you
you
can
want
still
somebody
have
to-
single friends, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you're spending more time individually with your single friends than you are as a couple with your couple friends,
Mhm.
you're looking for problems.
Yeah.
Mm.
So,
Because the
focus your
grass is
attention.
always going to look greener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
You
with
know.
somebody who don't have no grass, they stay in an apartment. and but they trying to tell you how bad your grass is, for real.
I heard that
I
one,
didn't mean it
but
like
I
that.
like that.
They got-
I
There's
like that
nothing
little
wrong with
touch.
an apartment. You can wherever you are, it's a good place to stay.
They got a maintenance
Yeah,
man.
wherever
you are.
They got a
Just
maintenance
talking
man
about
doing
grass
their
right
yard.
Yeah.
So
Yo.
y'all talked a lot about your. We got to hear your story from how
Mhm.
you guys met and up to now. I'm wondering about how did your childhood shape who you are as a spouse? I know that when you're married, there's a lot of things that you learn as you go. Like you said, y'all got married early. I can't even
Mhm.
imagine being married at 2021. I
Right.
was child.
Man, a hot mess.
Woo wee.
That was
So,
a good time.
Y'all had to life was great.
Yeah.
I lived in all the sin, okay? But y'all grew up together. That means that there was a lot of grace that was shown. There was a
Lot of
lot of
grace.
mistakes. There was a lot of you get on my nerves. There were a lot of mistakes y'all made together. But so y'all learned over the years from that. But what did you take into your marriage? What shaped your idea of marriage when you got there?
Okay, you want to go? 'Cause
Um,
I got something to say.
Oh,
okay,
he
I'll
ready.
go. Okay, I'll go. I will take in. I came from a 2-parent household.
Okay.
My parents were married all my life. Um, Together all my life. So I did have that foundation. And one thing I can say that I brought into marriage wasn't necessarily a super positive thing is I'm overly too much of a people pleaser. And so I was very, very much stuck in, and not really that my mom demanded it, but I couldn't make major decisions unless I was sure it would be something she would approve of. And I remember one time Tony said, I'm tired of being married to Rosa's little girl. I want to be married to Lisa, the grown woman. And so that was some deep stuff that I had to, simple stuff, like picking out furniture in a family room. It's like, unless I thought she was going to like it, then I couldn't fully commit to it.
Did that transfer to him too? Like, I can't make decisions unless I know he likes it, or it was more so with your mom?
It was more so with my mom.
Okay.
I just was
Wow.
stuck in that, like wanting to please her and wanting to be considered a good girl, and and so it, he took it, I think, as long as he could, and then,
He said, "Look here."
and I think when he said it, I think it literally was over furniture. I don't even think at that point it was over anything big, but it was just like, really, So,
But I had sisters, so I know how that goes, and okay, I think it was more of an issue for her that she had to work through than it was an issue for me, because at some point, regardless of how you approach it, we still gonna make a decision, and we gonna be happy with it, and then at that point, we just gonna hope she like it. You know what I'm saying? Because this is our house.
Yeah.
And so we gonna pick out what we want. And I mean, everything was pink. The carpet.
Y'all had pink
right at the
Pink
Carpet.
Okay.
mauve.
Not a rug, but
Okay.
carpet.
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 The whole
In
and
our-
the whole
condo, the first thing
was
we had, and we had a
pink carpet.
cream color sofa.
Was
with
that
the
by
fur-
choice?
Yeah, we
Yep.
picked that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
Alright.
picked all that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I got to give you all the credit.
Wow.
Okay.
Pink
Yeah.
carpet.
All right.
I can't believe we did that.
Hey, it was cute though.
It looked
It
nice.
was cute.
Especially
It was-
with the
it's a-
little ribbon around the bottom.
Because we
of
had
the
this,
rope.
it
Wait,
was
the
this
ribbon?
ivory.
Yeah.
It's like more like a rope like
A
thing,
rope.
but it was like an ivory color sofa, and then around like this
Oh,
part,
uh-huh.
it was
Stuff.
mauve
Oh,
and
mauve.
stuff. So that
Yeah.
went with the carpet and
Yeah.
thing, and then
Oh.
you told you the monochromatic, and then we had
Yeah.
some goblets that we had gotten that were pink,
They were pink.
and
Oh,
and
okay.
stuff. So
So pink wasn't the pop color. That was the color.
that was
That
the
was-
color.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think
So
that come
pink
out
wasn't
with
used to
pop
bring it
colors
to
back
Yeah,
bring
they-
it all
they didn't
They
together.
didn't have pop
It
colors.
They didn't
was
have
the
pop
color.
colors back then.
No.
There was
It was
They
like
didn't. It was pink.
Mm.
Pink.
That was
yeah,
it.
That was it.
But yeah, I
It
think
was.
that was one thing I brought into marriage. One, longevity I could see,
Mhm.
and I think that's why we felt so strongly about it. So I think I brought that into marriage, and you can answer.
Well, for me, it was some things that I kind of had like some guidelines based on what I saw as I was growing up.
Mhm.
There were certain things that I knew I didn't want to happen at my house. We're not gonna be doing all this yelling, and nothing gets accomplished. The only thing that comes out of yelling is hurt feelings. So it really serves no purpose at all. And the other thing was sleeping in the same bed.
Mm.
I don't care how mad we are.
We always-
Yeah.
We didn't buy a sofa for nobody to lay on unless you're watching a game.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's the only time you lay on the sofa.
I
Other
tried
than
that
that,
one time and it did not go
You tried to
well.
go to the sofa, or you tried to put him on the
Oh,
sofa?
I
Try to
tried to
tell
put
me
him
to
on the
go.
sofa. And literally,
I burst out
he burst
laughing
out laughing.
immediately.
I was
That was
so
funny
mad
to me.
at him. I was so like he
He
was
said, "I
like
ain't sleep on no
really laughing. Like
sofa."
I took
In the middle of an argument, I'm like,
Yeah.
that was funny.
and I mean I was not happy about that because he laughed like a gut wrenching laugh, like he had heard a
Man.
Richard Pryor joke or something. Like what?
Wow.
Like you talking
He
foreign
said,
language?
"You gonna
or
put
something."
me on
Was
Yeah,
that
my
we
something
not
you had
enemies.
communicated before?
We talked about that
Oh, okay.
ahead of time, and that's why it was so funny when she
Because he
when
was like,
she
"I'm not
told-
budging on
Yeah,
that."
that wasn't even. I mean,
Yeah.
for real, it was because
I didn't bring it up anymore.
that's not
you
your,
got you got the point. I
It's-
got the point.
it's not your enemy.
Uh,
Say
So
that again.
It's
Say
not
that
your
again.
enemy.
What's not your enemy?
Your wife, your spouse is
Yes,
not
that's
your
good.
enemy. So even though there are some, I know this is not a word, enigmatic time.
Yeah.
She feel like an enemy
Oh,
or whatever.
okay, I was like
Enigmatic.
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 Okay, I got you.
Enigmatic.
I got you. I was like,
Enigmatic.
what is that supposed to be? I was trying to use
Oh.
context
Can y'all
clues.
put subtitles?
Yeah.
yeah. I put that right.
This Louisiana
Enigmatic.
right here.
That's
This is all
Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. I got
But,
you.
Yeah.
but
Yeah, we're on the same team.
always
Even when
on the
we
same team.
are have opposing views,
Right.
we're still on the same team.
Correct.
You know.
And so once we have that understanding, we've argued, honestly, we've had 3 topics of arguments throughout these 36 years, is raising them kids, mama sees it one way, daddy sees it a totally different way, especially with the boys. Um, finances,
Mhm.
and during that growing up period when you making mistakes, you know what I'm saying, and the mistakes that were being made were in any society, not today's society, but just in any society, those are like we out of here type thing.
You want-
I don't care. I mean,
Oh, okay.
I'm very
Mhm.
yeah.
Being truthful and totally transparent, we both have been unfaithful in our marriage,
Mhm.
and
Very early on too.
And I want to
because-
clarify, she touched him. For those of y'all who are not watching,
Yeah.
listening, she tapped him and she asked if
She got permission.
I
She
want
got
y'all to know that.
Yeah.
That's why he said, with,
Yeah.
I'm okay being transparent. Go ahead.
Mhm.
Very young. I'm not making an excuse, but emotionally immature. And the one thing that we prayed, God, I don't want us to just be together for numbers.
Mhm.
I want us to have a
Yeah, it
healthy
wasn't doing that.
relationship.
Yeah.
And so at the time it was very difficult because for our friends, we were the it couple.
Mm.
We started off strong, good jobs, making good money or what have
Big
you.
house, all
Big-
kind of stuff.
and to be
you know.
truthful, became very full of ourselves.
Yep.
I mean, very generous and not saying anything.
That was the mistake.
but
Mm.
the
But y'all felt like
I
y'all had it.
we
We
felt like
had
we
it.
had it going on.
I mean,
we got it.
we 26. We got a 3-story house. I mean, we living.
Yeah, it sounds
And
like
we having a good old time. And
Man, I wish I was y'all's friend.
what you say?
So I wish I was y'all's friend back then.
yeah,
and
so we
it
just got-
absolutely went to our head.
It went to our
Everybody's looking at us. They the perfect couple. They got a little bit of change. They act right. They got kids who act right. Stuff like that, And you get caught with the lights on, and you just concentrate on the lights, and then you forget about what you really doing.
Mhm.
Or you
Yeah.
don't think anybody knows what you really doing. And it comes to a point where I had an old guy at home. He told me, he said, at some point, you gonna feel guilty and you gonna quit.
Mm.
And that's exactly what happened.
And then, so our situation was unique because usually it's one. One is the
Yeah.
victim and one. Well, we both.
Was it at the same time or was two different
It is
times periods?
Pretty much
But
around the same time.
time,
I
okay.
mean, to be honest, she a little sloppy. So
She got
okay.
caught.
yeah,
She did
yeah.
clean up behind us. Oh, okay.
And you
Dang.
know, but I wasn't too far behind, maybe like 6 or 7 months or something like
Yeah.
that. Got sloppy myself, you know.
Mhm.
So
But so as we're trying to deal with this to save our marriage,
Mhm.
pride is still there a little bit because we kind of like being the it couple.
Right.
So we're not
Another
having
problem.
any body that we can
Talk to.
talk to.
Mm.
So that was a time where we got much, much closer with God
Right.
because we couldn't, there wasn't another couple.
You
we
ain't
could
nobody to
sit,
talk to.
you know, and then me with my wanting to be a good girl and all of this. And so it's counter to
Yeah.
everything. And so it was a very, very difficult time. But we both separately and together sincerely went to God and was like, only you can fix this. We can't fix this. And it took some years. It took some years, obviously, for trust. It took some years for self-esteem to come back, you know, because, you know, being the cheater is never the good person on in the society, in
Either
the
side,
world, or
right.
what have you and stuff. And so dealing with that and full circle many years later, like 20 years later, uh, we were at a church and they wanted us to be over the couples ministry. And me and Tony like, no,
Y'all don't want none of this business
Y'all
right
don't want
here.
that smoke.
Nah.
Yeah.
y'all got, I'm sure.
And we, I
I'm
mean,
sure-
seriously, I mean,
I'm sure y'all got somebody else in here.
for real.
that's
Way more
better
qualified.
qualified.
Somebody's
Yeah.
married life that was much more simpler.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We
Yeah,
were like,
'cause it was-
God,
I
you
mean,
got
we done
some
had-
really sense of humor.
Let me see,
there.
1, 2 or 3 bankruptcies.
It-
We done lost. We done
Yeah.
foreclosed on a couple of
we
houses.
just, just like everyone else, we think there's got to be someone better than me.
That's
to
who
just-
God needs to use.
and that's exactly
That's who
right.
God
And
That's
see,
who people need
and
to
so
see.
and so when we realized that, that's
Then
when
we-
we became an open book
Mhm.
because
Because then it wasn't
what-
about us
what-
anymore.
Yes.
what good is it for somebody to know, okay, y'all look cute now, but you know how
Right.
much prettier we look after we tell what we've been
Yes.
through?
Because
Mhm.
people that are sitting there right in front of us, you know, I remember like when I asked him just now, I remember we were over this ministry and the pastor at the time.
conference or something like that?
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah,
y'all
I
just do
believe
speaking
so.
engagements all the time.
Oh
No, no,
No,
no,
so
no,
this
no,
is a
no.
podcast. This is a podcast.
No,
Okay.
no.
But we available.
We
No,
we was at a
No.
marriage counselor conference.
Well, I was talking about before at the other church before that. But okay, I'll tell you
I don't
what I'm
even
talking
remember.
about. So when we were over this couples ministry, we find they kept wouldn't let up, and so we said, okay, we'll do it. And so the pastor was saying that the ministry was going so well because his amount of counseling
Over there, okay.
was going down
Mm.
because couples were coming to the thing and
Ministering
just
to each
ministering to each other and dealing with things. Well, it was something that came up, and I had so much respect for Tony because he was just telling what he had done, and he didn't
Mhm.
include me in it.
Mm.
And then I just felt God saying, "It's okay. It's safe. It's okay." And so that was the first time that we both had shared openly.
And y'all didn't even talk about it beforehand.
We didn't even
No.
talk about it
Wow.
beforehand. And I had to tell them that I had the utmost respect because he just told his story
Yeah.
Mhm.
and he didn't allude to anything. But I felt God was saying that this is how I'm going to make something good out of the mess.
Come on.
Not that it was good when you
And none of
did
this
it and
bragging
others-
points.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
None of this
But
stuff
just-
is like
yeah.
bragging.
No,
But
yeah.
it's to let people know, like when we're saying that things can be worked out, we're not talking about just the penny ante stuff. We're talking
Yeah.
about.
I'm trying to
deep,
tell you what we know.
emotional.
Yeah.
What
That's,
we
'cause
know
that's all
for
you
a
can
fact.
talk about.
You know?
Yeah.
What I know.
That's stuff
Yeah.
so that people know it can be worked out.
Yeah.
And when I tell you that when God works it out, it's even better than what it was before.
Yep.
Because my
I
prayer
agree
during
with
that
that.
whole time, it's not because I thought I deserved it, but because I knew God was capable.
Yeah.
I wanted a healthy marriage for my
Mhm.
kids
Yeah.
and for us. I didn't want to just track time just to say we track time
Mhm.
and we miserable.
Because I've seen
And
that,
so-
and that doesn't look cute at all.
Yeah.
You know, you can be
And so-
married 1,000 years. If you didn't like each other, though,
The whole
Dude.
yeah.
the difference
And
is
so
like-
that's what still blows my mind is that I can tell this testimony and the pain is not the same. Like
Yeah.
before, I couldn't even say it and the tears would come because I've seen how amazing God has been, not just for us, but for the people he's touched through us, for us to give us the courage to be more worried about being okay with God than what people will say.
Yeah.
you
That's
know?
the biggest down. I think that hinders man the most is concerned about what the neighbors thinking.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
as soon as you release that from your spirit, where you worried about what the next man is thinking, that gives you the freedom to truly be who you want to be. Like with my wife, you know, and so because of all of the different things that we've gone through, obviously there's nothing I can't hold anything back from her at this point, you know. So and if I try to, she'll recognize it and say, "What's wrong?"
Yep.
or something
Yeah.
like
She
that,
know
you
you.
know.
Yeah.
And I might be doing it because I want her to ask me what's wrong, you know, so I can open up and be honest
Yeah.
with her and stuff like that. Because dudes still try to be hard all the
Yeah.
time, and that's a misnomer. Don't do that. Cry every day, laugh every day. You be all right.
You'd be all right.
Yeah.
For real.
I want to say thank y'all so much for being vulnerable enough to share that. And I can honestly say when y'all shared that, I immediately thought of God. I immediately thought, wow, that God got the glory, and that's how they made it to 36 years. That carries more weight than, oh, y'all made it 36 years. Everything's been perfect. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
This like
That's-
year 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. This is very
Early
early
on.
before the
Yeah.
boys
That's
came
usually
around.
that's
Yeah.
usually when
This is
marriages
before the
fail.
boys came around.
Yeah.
Right.
And y'all made it through that. And that wasn't your only, like, life hasn't been perfect ever since.
Oh
And
no.
I appreciate y'all sharing that because that is literally the purpose of the podcast, is to let couples know you're not alone. And also to let people who are not married know, baby, when you leave the wedding day, it's not all glitz and glamour. Like,
It is not.
because
No.
I've also heard people who are aspiring to be married, people they know get married and the door closes and they don't know what's over
On the
there.
other side.
Yeah,
right.
they have no
Exactly.
idea. And so I think reminding people that this is how God gets the glory. He made
is
the
how.
institution of marriage
Yes.
to reflect him. And so I appreciate y'all sharing that. A question that popped up in my mind, and I don't know, do you have anything, baby?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Mm-mm. You preaching.
Yeah, they really are. I want to know, what are some things that y'all use to keep the joy between one another? People say the spark alive. You know, what keeps y'all
Baby, you
loving
don't want
each
me to
other?
answer that question.
Hey, let's
Lord have mercy. Lord
let's
have
go.
mercy.
I tell you the truth. nah.
Let's go.
Nah.
What really does day to day keep you loving each other? Because it's not just I wake up every day and I choose. Sometimes there are some practical things that you have to do.
Laughing. For real, for real.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a lot of laughter in y'all's house.
Man,
And
look,
I
we
crack
miss,
jokes
I
all the
miss the
time.
laughs that I would get at y'all's house.
we always
Oh.
we joking about something on each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? On our parents. It doesn't even matter.
Matter,
You know,
yeah.
it's we joke about everything.
And then we
And-
say sometimes like, when are we gonna grow up? We are
And
grandparents.
we just
now,
had
when
this
a-
conversation like 2 weeks ago. Are we really? And I was like, seriously, are we really going to ever grow up, or this is who we are?
Grown
and she was like,
kids.
nah, I think that's who we are. So, and I'm
'Cause we're-
okay with that.
Our
you
life
know?
group at church, and we were like, y'all, please don't kick us out, because they was like, no,
they do
you gotta
clown.
come.
Yeah,
Yeah,
y'all
they,
clown all
a
day.
lot.
they was like, no, you gotta stay. But I will say some little practical things that may not mean much to somebody else that means a lot to me. Like, even when Tony worked nights, when I leave for work, he gets up every morning and he walks me to the car. He
Aw.
starts the car, if it's cold. That's been such a long time ago in Texas. But so it's little things like that. He'll start the car for me.
She don't open the door unless, but we got boys as well.
Mm.
But she don't open the door unless she's alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, my grandsons learn that. They come, okay, yeah,
even my
or
grandsons
something.
know that.
So it's little things like that. I always seem to get a taste for something once he's getting ready to get into bed. So I'll be like, you you got a taste for an ice cream sandwich.
What
He's
you
like,
want? What
I
you
don't
want?
like
talking
ice cream
about it, said
sandwich
ice cream
at
sandwich.
all.
And she know this. Y'all been
Yeah,
married
yeah,
36
she know
years.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then he'll be, that's my favorite thing, Jazz. I'll be like, he'll be like, no, Lee, I don't
What
have
do
a
you
taste
want?
for anything. And as he's fussing, grabbing the keys, what do you want? Just an ice cream sandwich and some Lay's barbecue potato chips.
I don't even go
And
to
he'll
him.
go to 7-Eleven and get it. And so little times, and I know he wants to
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yes. So it's little things that he does that I know he doesn't have to do that just lets me know he's thinking of me or just trying to make something, even if it's small, make me happy in some way.
But that goes both ways. So
Yeah.
I like, and I'm gonna be honest, I like to have go buy all them little inexpensive clothes at like Temu or something like that,
Uh-huh.
and then we can have what they call that when you walk down the runway.
Yeah, he wants
Fashion
me to
show?
he
Fashion
wants me to have
show.
a fashion
Yeah.
show
Oh,
for him.
so she buys the clothes.
She buy the clothes,
okay.
Yes.
and then I get a fashion show.
Oh, you don't ever get in the fashion show because
I ain't buying no clothes over there.
No,
No,
there-
but she's
no,
saying just if you bought
because
the
you like
clothes,
to buy
give
your
him the
your
fa-
package suits.
yeah, the package candy cane.
Yeah,
It ain't gonna
yeah,
be the
yeah,
same.
yeah,
If
Nah,
he
yeah.
it
do
ain't
a
gonna be the
fashion show with
same.
that candy,
Nah, that's
that
not
ain't-
going.
I
It's not.
think
I'm not
It ain't
he
gonna
was
be the
still the
same.
show. He was still the show.
He gonna
That's
still-
gonna mess
He's
up
still the show.
everything.
and I would
This
say
nigga-
that ain't gonna get him where he trying to
No,
go. That ain't gonna get him where he
no.
trying to
Oh,
go.
Okay.
I think we
Okay.
may have
But I
started
will say
something.
this, 'cause my memory is still serves me well, is that when our kids were little, sometimes it can't be spontaneous.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
Hey.
got to be planned.
Yeah.
In the world of social media, oh, we were frolicking and then
Right.
no.
And in the
sometimes,
movies, it's so romantic.
Romantic
They
and
have
all-
candles and
you
stuff.
know, look,
Yeah.
especially, I mean, Kai's still a little bit. When they get to be like 4 and 5, it's like, look, okay,
No, like why the
yeah, 30
spaghetti
minutes.
is boiling.
yeah. Barney is on for 30 minutes. We got 30 minutes.
Got dinner cooking. Barney is
Barney's on.
entertaining.
You go.
Let's go.
Let's
That's
go.
real.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah,
for
it
real.
ain't, sometimes, look, it's like, okay, do you want to wait until we can have the perfect scenario, or do what we got to do
Yeah.
right now? It
Yeah.
may not be all perfect, but the same goal is accomplished.
Thank you
Right.
for
You know,
being real about it. We've talked
so-
about that too.
Yeah, so
this
sometimes-
bonnet it's already here. So
It's here. Hey,
Right.
it is what it is.
this
So,
T-shirt, that's all I got. I don't have
Oh,
no
yeah.
time for lingerie.
Ain't
Like,
nobody, ain't nobody got time for that.
That's
So
right.
Because
sometimes
he might
it's-
wake up in the next 5 minutes. So
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
You gotta
get
go.
what you
Went to
can.
bed. You know, when he go to bed, he don't move for at least 30,
Right, you
35
gotta-
minutes.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna hear nothing from
Yeah. So,
Or
yeah.
nap time is almost
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you have to be mindful of that, because sometimes that can be the first thing that goes by the wayside.
Oh
'Cause
my gosh.
I'm
Mhm.
tired or whatever. And ladies, you're not gonna like it, but you know what? Sometimes you got to go in that bathroom and talk to Jesus, like, okay, Lord,
What?
get my mind together.
What? I was
That's the
talking to a friend
last
about
thing
that
I'm
today.
thinking about. But Lord, help me to focus and get my mind out of the 9,000, the laundry, to this. Help me get together. Let me take this quick shower, get my mind together.
Hey, the bathroom
So,
pep talks or the pep talks driving home
Yeah,
after work.
Yeah,
Okay, girl, we got
because
this.
it's not, it's not always about you and
Right.
what you feel and that.
Right.
Sometimes it's like, okay, we are one. Okay, so I gotta get my mind right.
But at the same
before-
time, bro, read the room.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? You could tell if her day was a little bit harder than it usually is, or something like that. And something as simple as putting the baby on your neck and running around outside for a little while so she can
Mhm.
take a nap.
Yep.
You could get rewarded for these types of things.
Yes.
That's real.
Yes.
That's
And
real.
look,
Get rewarded.
because I'm not gonna sit here and tell you over 36 years I ain't bought her.
Right.
It's a barter system.
You gotta do what you can.
That's
It's a
real.
barter system.
Mhm.
I do.
Because in my early child years, acts of service was my love language. Run the
What?
vacuum. Put a load of dishes in the
Oh,
dishwasher.
look.
You'd be amazed at what kind of mood a person
Brother
can
be
get in.
excited to do the
Man.
colors and the white.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
together.
No, not together. That's
Yeah.
not gonna get you where you trying to
No,
go.
don't you-
No, you got to
Don't you do them
separate.
together. Don't you put them in there together?
Our
It's the
tie back
laundry
then was
and the
not for
dishes.
color.
Oh,
He said
yeah.
laundry
Doing the
and
laundry and the dishes
Yeah,
together,
yeah,
doing them
yeah.
together.
So yeah, I mean, sometimes it's nice when it can be, the fairy tale, and sometimes it has to be practical.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you have to, short of fasting and praying or a true medical condition, you can't let that time away be too long.
Yeah.
Because we are flesh,
Yeah.
and so you have to be mindful of that. It's not always about what we feel like doing.
Serving.
I have
Mhm.
a wonderful example of that.
Okay.
Acts of service, right?
Mhm.
So I have Crohn's disease, it's a stomach problem, and 2012 I had to go in and have surgery. And so after the surgery, they have I guess they call it a morphine drip or whatever.
Mhm.
And the only way it'll drip is if you push the button. Well, I'm out. I just had the surgery. She set her alarm to get up to push the button.
Mm.
She ride or die, man.
Mhm.
Every 30 minutes, And this is the whole night.
Mhm.
She set the alarm so I could sleep peacefully. So what am I not gonna do for her?
Right.
And that's the thing. If you try to outserve each other,
Yep.
that's the
Everybody
only-
wins.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
everybody wins.
Yeah.
That's the only real competition that should be in a marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what can
Really?
what can I do to
Mhm.
make his day easier? What can I do to make her day easier? How can I die to self
I cry a lot.
to this?
Mm.
Yeah,
I ain't got no problem with it. So
It's all right.
yeah,
It's okay.
it's okay.
that just
It's
mean
really-
I mean what I say.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it is that's the best way to serve. It's
Yep.
just to find out how and even when you're mad,
Mhm.
sometimes it's okay. God is okay with us doing stuff mad. It still counts.
Yep.
You don't have to be in this perfect emotional state of health, to want to do things,
Yeah.
because we know what is required of us.
Mhm.
And it's not easy,
It's
but when
not.
you
It's not easy.
yeah. And I'm not I
I'm not
hope
trying
I'm
to
not
make it
seem
sound
like
like
it's
it's
1 2 boom.
No,
1
because it
2
ain't
boom.
nothing like that.
Yeah,
it's not like that.
It's chores, and that's why
Mhm.
you need a village to encourage you sometimes.
Yeah.
That's why you need to go in the bathroom and encourage yourself sometimes
Yeah.
when the village ain't there.
Yeah.
Because it's not meant. Oftentimes, I have found the difficulties you feel you experience in your marriage is oftentimes related to the difficulties with your personal relationship with
With
God.
God.
That's
Yeah.
good.
So if you have trouble um, releasing control, and you think, it's because my husband this and that and stuff, you probably have trouble releasing control to God.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
That's good.
So he gives us these relationships so that we can learn and work out our relationship with him.
Yeah.
But he has to give it to us here on earth in the natural, where we can understand it and experience it and know. And so when you think about that, it's like, okay, not so much, okay, why is he doing this and stuff? It's like, okay, God, what are you trying to show me through him? And I find that time and time again, a lot of things we experience, when I'm honest and I peel back the layers, that's what I'm struggling with God.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's given me something in the natural to see and to make me aware of that. And so then it just gives you a different perspective of what it is that we're going through.
Come on, Minister Lisa.
That's good.
So,
And it really makes me think about when we were talking about when Jazz had asked y'all about y'all's upbringing with your parents and stuff, and I can see that in a lot of people's relationships, their relationships with their spouses tend to be an extension of their relationship with their parents. And so therefore we see the disconnection, the dislocation, the dysfunction happening. And so it often mirrors with their relationship with God too. And so the way that they were with their parents, they project that relationship with them onto their relationship with God.
Mhm.
And so if I didn't have a lot of control as a kid growing up, or I didn't have a voice,
Mhm.
and I'm in this relationship where I feel voiceless, now I'm feeling as if, okay, I have to keep as much control as possible so that I can ensure that everybody hears me
Now
or
you
Mhm.
fighting all
everybody
the time.
sees me.
Yes.
'Cause you,
And
yeah.
so in my flesh, I feel like I'm doing the right thing because no
Mhm.
one ever made me feel like I had a voice.
Mhm.
And God is like, but my voice is what matters most.
Yes.
And so allow my voice to speak through you than you trying to create situations, create scenarios where you end up being in control. And
Mhm.
so I find that connection just so, it's so powerful and on point because it is so true. Like whatever I'm dealing with her is because I haven't dealt with it with God.
Mhm.
And I'm angry at her, which really means I'm really mad at God,
God.
but God is showing me that I'm mad at him through her.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
And really, the issue is you, and it ain't
and,
even
and
God.
it's not even God.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not my
Exactly.
spouse.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And my lack of trust in giving up control
Yes.
or relinquishing whatever and taking my hands off of it.
Mhm.
Because we have the propensity to feel like we got to control it, we got to fix it, we got to
Mhm.
change it.
Well, can't nobody fix it like you. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
exactly.
And that's how we feel about
Yeah.
everything.
That's the one.
Man.
And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's the tough part, especially as the head of the household or whatever.
Mhm.
It don't have to be a struggle.
Yeah.
The head of the household don't mean like it's my way or the highway. That's
Right.
not what it means.
Right.
And I don't like dudes who I don't
Yeah.
like dudes who use that as a tool against your spouse.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Submit to me, woman.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that, bro. What you think you getting out of that deal
Nothing.
if you do
Right.
that?
Right.
For real,
Nothing.
Right.
honesty.
Not her wisdom, not her
you're not getting
insight,
nothing.
anything out of
Yeah.
that
Now you're
deal.
getting real respect.
Not
Yeah.
even nobody who got your back.
Mm-mm-mm.
You know, I remember hearing the pastor one time. He said, as the head of the household, if you got any issue in your house, you lead by example. If I don't like the way that the toilets are being cleaned, I don't yell about the toilets are not being cleaned properly. I bring everybody around and I show them how to clean the toilet.
Mhm.
If I got a problem with the way they wash the dishes, then I bring them in the kitchen and I'm gonna show you.
Mhm.
Now, at this point, I'm still management, so I'm just showing you, and then this is gonna be your job from now on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you can't complain about the way something is going on when you haven't taken the time to show them how you would like for it to be done.
Yep.
And that's in marriage, as a parent, or anything. Kids don't listen to what you say.
Mhm.
They follow what you do.
That's real.
If you don't want them to act dirty, don't be dirty around them.
Yep.
They won't learn that. These are learned activities. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta remember. We always say, and we always say, don't do nothing because God always looking and stuff like that. And that's real highfalutin.
Mhm.
Your kids looking at you.
Everybody's.
Yeah.
Somebody that you can actually put an eye on, that's counting on you. Your child is looking at you. Your wife, your spouse is looking at you. That's who. You don't have to worry about anything past your own, what's actually in your house that you can see.
That's
If
real.
you do right by that, then God will be pleased with you.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I know it's something a little, we're not really on this per se, but I hear people, a lot of times marriage is 50-50, and I get so frustrated
Untrue.
when I hear that because it's not 50-50. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
We talked
85
about
to
that. We
15.
talk about it all the
Sometimes it's
time.
95-5.
Yep.
And the reason
It's a
it's
sum total
uneven like
100
that
is what it
is
is.
it could be 1,000. It could be health. It could be mental status. It could be because I don't want to. You know what I
Straight
mean?
up.
Or straight up.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is, you're one, so the total should be 100.
Right.
And then if you ain't got the whole 100, okay, I mean, we might just
It's
gonna be,
grace.
yeah, I'm gonna have to give you grace. You're gonna have to give me mercy,
Yeah.
and we'll see it on the other side. I
Right.
So
got
just-
5
just-
on it today. That's all I got.
That's all I
That's
got.
That's all I
We
got.
literally talked about that.
Just using the morphine drip thing.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
is
you
that
would-
50-50?
Yeah, you
You know,
right.
I ain't
That
hear
was
nothing.
all
You know what I'm
100.
saying?
That was 99
right,
and 1.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it was one other thing I wanted to say pertaining to the head of the household. Your goal should be to be the worst thing that comes out your house as the head of the household.
Mm-hmm.
That don't mean you have to be the worst thing in the world. Just the worst thing out of your house. You want to uplift your wife, your children. You want to let them shine the most.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens when you do that is at the end of life, they won't let you sit around dirty.
Yeah.
Somebody will take care of you. If you try to do the right thing, you know what I'm saying? But if you're going around spitting venom all the time, well, who wants to wipe the butt of a person who's spitting venom all the time?
Yeah.
Even if it is your mama or your daddy, you know what I'm saying? You do right by them, step back, let them shine, and everything will be all right. And I don't mean like you don't do anything or whatever. You can still live your life, but prioritize getting them set up for life.
Mm-hmm.
Your best legacy is not the money you leave around, but
Nope.
the people you leave behind to use the money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost impossible when someone goes out of their way to do good for you. I mean, of course, I want to turn around and do good for
Right.
them.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
So it's just it continues to be a reciprocal relationship, or something when you do and you're thinking, I'm like, oh, you know what, he always does. I'm gonna do that. Or simple things. You know what, he likes this kind of Snickers. Let me just pick that up.
Yeah,
You know,
those
it's
little
like-
things like that. Just
Yep.
They
bringing
mean
the
the-
payday
yeah.
home
Very
at the end of the day.
You
for
eat
real.
paydays?
Oh yeah, I love
Yeah,
paydays.
paydays
Yeah,
are good.
Old school.
they got
Right.
that, and on the
Right.
inside they got. It's not really caramel.
I don't know what.
I don't know, but
I
it's
think
a
I
little
had one
salty.
once and I was like,
He's just like, why?
Why?
Yeah.
Like, why does this exist?
Okay, no,
Like a Mr.
Don't
Good
get
Bar.
her payday.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Payday.
this is- yeah.
Snickers will do.
Snickers.
Yeah.
Snickers.
Well, we'll see until she don't want it.
Oh,
She's so indecisive.
so-
I gotta ask. So, what you want
Mhm.
now? Specifically, which one?
See,
Yeah. Y'all really spit some wisdom.
I appreciate it.
Y'all
you.
really, like
Mhm.
for real. Y'all really did. And it's funny how, have you noticed a lot, not a lot, but they have said several things that we have said
Yeah.
on the podcast.
Y'all
So-
literally have underscored 95% of the stuff that we did talk
Yeah,
about.
and
Oh,
definitely
that's
shared
great.
some things that we haven't. So thank y'all again.
Yeah,
Thank you
actually,
so much.
I was sitting here, and I can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was wondering, as far as you two are concerned, what is the goal or what is the vision of the podcast? Where you going with it? What you
Mhm.
plan on doing? What's the hope? What's the dream as far as not for you two? I'm not talking about like I get this many views, I get this much money. I'm talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
like the lives affected. What's the who are you looking at?
You want to start?
Nah, Miss Tony was looking at you.
Um,
I want you to look good, girl. You look good.
you
You go
taking
ahead.
notes.
Go ahead, girl.
Go, baby,
Go ahead. Look good.
To speak to those who desire marriage and also married couples, and to do several things. One, to let them know what's on the other side of the door. When you say I do to that person, what's really there, and what does it look like to truly be a reflection as a husband? What does it mean to really be a reflection of how Jesus loved the church? What does that look like day to day in your wife's mess, in your mess, in infidelity, in pornography, in any type of addiction, or even just attitudes?
Yes.
Right.
Serving one another. What does that look like? To provide clarity, hopefully encouragement that you are not in this by yourself, and to point people back to God. Because the things that we have walked through together and individually, well, even though I go through something individually, my spouse is in that with me.
That's
yes,
true.
exactly.
To show people, we did that on our knees. We did that through prayer and fasting. We did,
Yes.
yes, through wise counsel here and there,
Mhm.
but there are sometimes, like y'all said, you can't call everybody.
Everybody.
And at the end of the day, it's on you. And we
Yeah.
made the decision that divorce was not. That's not even a word. We never say like I'm leaving or like that. Literally is a laugh. Like I could laugh at that. Like
That's a laughable.
Like,
It's
okay.
like
Yeah.
sleeping on the sofa.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a laughable thing
there are
because
just
it's never
some
gonna
things
happen.
we don't say.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't allow. So like y'all said, what are we gonna do? Because we decided to do this thing together.
Yeah.
So
And make it work.
and make it work.
No matter what. You know what I mean? No matter what, because there's a lot of things that are going to go on over the course of 36 years that and forever, not just 36, but continuing on, that really has nothing to do with you, but it's going to be an effect on your marriage.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
Parents passing.
Yep.
You know, life goes on, losing jobs, parents losing jobs, or a brother or a sister, and then all of a sudden, now you need to channel extra money to somewhere, and you don't even have the extra money to channel it, but you're not gonna leave your brother or sister hanging or anything like that, you know. So it's a lot of other things that go into it that are going to happen no matter what, and you have to incorporate them into as part of your marriage. But you can't let outside forces interject in your marriage and have more say so than your spouse.
Yeah.
Nobody, no friend, no nothing
Yeah.
should have more say so in your marriage, you know, than your spouse.
Yeah. We were talking off camera about how marriage, your home is your first ministry.
Yes.
It really
Yes.
is. Because
It
how
is.
you gonna go do anything else?
If you
And
can't
it-
manage
Yeah.
it,
you can't
If your
manage
home
this.
is
Correct.
jacked up and you know, ain't got no peace there and you out
Right.
in the street trying to minister,
Right.
like, wait a
Because you
minute.
clearly not okay.
Yeah.
Because you can't be.
Yeah, you hopped over some people just to go. I was like, what?
Right.
because
No.
I believe to have true peace, it got to start in your home.
It has to.
Yes.
That's true.
You know,
It has to.
and because of that, I feel like I have lived a stress-free life once I quit acting up. Really, it's been a stress-free life. It's so much easier that way. You know, when you look forward to going home,
Yeah.
my commute home is an hour and a half
Oh my goodness.
to go home from work every day.
Really?
But I still get home with a positive attitude because
Yeah.
I already know what's at the crib, and
Yeah.
and we empty nesters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
She waiting on
Empty.
you.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey. But
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just want to commend you all to because I know it's not necessarily the popular thing with podcasts. It could be so many other things to talk about, and not that they're bad. But I just want to commend you all as a young couple to have that burden and passion for this because it's so needed, and
And a
we are
sacrifice.
extremely
y'all part.
appreciative to invite us to participate in this because I have such a passion for marriage and for young marriages, not even just young people, but young marriages. That I just, just will be praying and seeking God for you all to reach all the things that He intends for you to accomplish with this
I agree.
because it is important. It's so much else foolishness
Yeah.
that's going on, and everybody can have a little ratchet TV in their life here and there and stuff, but this is kingdom building
Right.
because not only does this affect so many people, then there are children that are affected if these if marriages don't go well.
If they
Yeah.
stay
and
together,
stuff. Yeah,
you know,
it's
the
just
children
reap.
win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
And
goal
other
is to be the
children that
worst
don't
thing out
even
your
grow
house,
up
so
in the
they
house
gotta
but
win.
have
You
a
wanna win.
vision. Maybe they weren't blessed to grow up with it in their house, but to see more of it.
Yeah.
And it is sad that it's not really a difference in the divorce rate from Christian to
Right.
non-Christian things. So I just really do. I just want to commend you all to stay on the journey, on the path, and be patient. And your time, what's meant for you, is going to be for you. But I think you're on to something really powerful.
And necessary.
Yes.
And necessary.
and it's wise to get wisdom from different sources.
Mm-hmm.
That's a sign of maturity, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because even at 36 years, I'm still learning.
Mm-hmm.
You
It's
know,
a
we
lot of
haven't
things she
arrived
still don't listen.
Oh, okay.
Get him,
You know,
Mr. Tony.
Uh-huh.
Get him,
with
Mr.
Good
Tony.
helper.
with clear instruction,
instruction. Hmm.
and she still don't listen.
Mm.
But
Well,
hey,
everybody can't be Proverb
right.
31.
And
I mean,
my
right now
favorite
I'm at
word,
29.
Hey,
yeah,
and that's
That's
okay.
okay.
And that's okay.
It's
I'm
a
trying
lot
to
of
get
stuff
there.
in 31. If you
Yeah.
really break that
Mhm.
thing down,
Yeah,
it's,
it's a lot.
it's a lot. It's like,
lot.
ooh, okay, I got to do that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you know, so
Mm.
She said she at
no,
29.
she's not trying though. No, certain, no.
How you know she not
This
trying?
is
What
a
you mean I'm not
hon-
trying?
Mr. Tony said
when
ain't
she say
trying.
no, I ain't doing that. That means I'm not trying.
Okay.
Well, maybe it's what you
Oh,
asked. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe you asking wrong.
But
Yeah,
look,
you
I
asking-
want to say just one last
Mhm.
thing. My favorite word in the whole wide world is stick to itiveness. That's a real word.
Can you please say that again?
Stick to itiveness.
Stick to itiveness. I'm gonna put that on the bottom of the screen.
STICKTUI.
Uh-huh.
I'm getting lost. I'm going too
It's okay.
fast.
It's
I don't
okay.
know.
But it's a
Okay.
real word.
Evenness.
Yeah, if this.
It's a real word.
Stick
Okay.
to
And
itiveness.
and just that simple word gets you through a lot of things. If you just stay with it, just don't stop. Stick to it. Don't stop.
Mhm.
Follow through. You win.
Mm-mm-mm.
You automatically win if you don't quit.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
That's true.
Winning looks different. Winning don't always mean first place.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah.
Winning just means you didn't quit.
Mm.
Stick to it.
Stick to it.
itiveness.
I'm gonna hear that
It's gonna be in my head. See,
I know. See,
cause you know my family, they don't talk right either.
No, your family always making up words.
Yeah.
But he said this is a real word.
This
No, it's a real word.
Now,
It came
enigmatic.
out
now,
in the-
enigmatic.
I don't know
was
about that
just
one.
not-
No, that was on the
Uh-uh.
spot right
That
there.
was- that was-
yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
That was
I'm
fresh.
fairly sure that one is not a word.
Yeah,
I'm
probably
Before
fairly
y'all
not.
put that out, I'm gonna go ahead and copyright that word.
Okay,
Okay.
you got it. You got it.
But
you got it.
2 weeks.
I don't want nobody else to
You
use
got
it.
two. So if y'all just feel the need to edit that part,
Oh no, we keeping that.
No,
We
yeah,
gonna
you
keep
it
that.
all
one.
stays.
We gonna keep
I
that.
mean, I'm just saying.
We
I'm
gonna
just
keep
saying
that.
I
you
really
know,
appreciate somebody, y'all taking the time, really, to even ask our opinion about it.
course.
Of
Thank you
course.
very much for asking.
Thank
No,
y'all
no
for
problem,
being
no
here.
problem.
this is awesome.
It was awesome. I really have enjoyed it.
Yeah, I have, and I really appreciate y'all dropping the gems, of course.
Yeah.
But y'all's words of encouragement and
Yes.
affirmation,
Yes.
and really just speaking over us and speaking life into us, because you know Jazz said it, and I didn't even have to say nothing. But you know we really strive to just remind people that marriage is the reflection of Christ and His relationship with the church.
Right.
And so that's what we want to do. We just want to reflect Christ.
Mhm.
We want to reflect the righteousness of that relationship and the faithfulness of what that relationship is supposed to look like. And so um the relationship isn't perfect or righteous because of us.
Right.
That
But
is
that's
definitely so.
why we needed Jesus, because the
Exactly.
relationship is not perfect.
It's
Right.
not. We needed
It's not
his
perfect.
we
Right.
needed his perfection for our imperfection.
Right.
Yes.
To strengthen things and to make it whole. And he's made our weaknesses are made strong in him,
Yes.
which that's our infidelity, our lying, our cheating, our
Mhm.
poor management of finances,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
I would even say abuse,
Mhm.
Correct.
all of it. And he covered it all in his blood. And not only, and if we take the proper steps, not just praying and fasting, but getting practical help,
Yes.
getting a
Yes.
therapist, getting a coach,
Yes.
getting mentors, and surrounding ourselves with the community that we need to surround ourselves with. It's only then we can begin striving for what that reflection is supposed to look like. So
That is so
yeah,
true.
we really appreciate y'all.
Well, thank you. This
Thank
has
you
been
very
a
much.
blast.
I enjoyed this.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't have to wait for you to get here. You was a little late.
See, what? Mm-mm.
I mean, technically, y'all was early, both of y'all.
Yeah.
Oh,
See?
were we?
See?
Okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
know. I never got an actual time I was supposed to be here. You just
Why
told me
is
what
it-
time you was gonna get here, and I was just trying to match that.
You know, that's how we communicate.
You say, well, I'm gonna try to get there. Not we need to be there by.
Right. Yeah.
I see you. I
See,
see
She
you.
told me
Yeah.
what time she was leaving, what time she was supposed to get here. So then I left work, so I'd get here right around the time she was
Mhm.
getting here.
I see what you did, Miss Lisa. I see what you did.
Sit outside.
I see you. I see you. See, Miss Tony, you doing a good job. Be the worst thing to come out your house.
That's
See?
that's
You doing
my
good.
whole look.
You doing good.
Yeah.
That's what you're
Yes.
supposed to do. For real. And you should strive to be that.
Uh-huh,
It sounds silly, but it's really not.
Mhm.
It's really
It's a
not.
simple concept.
It's
Simple
very
concept.
simple, yeah. You want everybody else to be
Ah.
great. And then as a parent, as a old fella, you just sit back and smile.
Yeah. Mhm.
It sounds so simple, but
Yeah.
I'm really not lying.
Be the worst
Because
thing to come out
I
your
look at,
house.
I mean, even you guys, like, y'all my babies.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, so our family is expansive.
Mhm.
And so I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful to see you all, as parents and young adults and doing your thing and stuff. So it's a blessing. It's a blessing. It really, really is.
You will find that it is fun to pour into other people's lives.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yes.
you win like
Yeah. We.
You know?
That's why we
Yeah.
love doing the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
It is. So, thank y'all again. Thank y'all
Thank
again.
y'all.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all again.
And the baby pretty too, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
I gotta
yeah,
say
yeah.
baby.
Yeah. That's my dog.
We had to
That's my
put
dog.
Kai down
We had to
earlier.
put him down.
All by himself.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, look, you see Miss Lisa.
I heard.
face?
I heard.
Clothes.
I-
You should
what
have saw
what's
her face.
I heard her voice.
It's all
Yeah.
about that self-care.
Yeah,
They don't
grandparents.
believe in self-soothing.
They
We
don't
had to talk
believe
about
in
that and putting the
That-
baby down
that
on
term
them.
just came out in 2000.
Yeah, they just say that's
wasn't even
a
a
post.
term.
They want to rock
that's a
every baby to
post-pandemic
sleep.
That wasn't even a
term.
term
Yeah, no
last
He ain't even a
self-soothing.
baby no more. He's
They
a toddler.
They just mad because the baby don't need them. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
They don't need
Yeah.
them. They don't feel needed. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I don't need you to put me to sleep.
Some rubs even I give him a kiss. I wiped it. He don't even wait to leave to wipe it off. Like right stand
In your
like, really?
face.
That's what we
In
doing,
your
dog?
face.
Okay.
Wow.
That's funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So, man,
Thank
how
y'all
you-
so much.
Yeah, how you feeling?
I'm full, man.
Yeah,
I'm honestly full. I don't know how long we done kept these people,
it be alright.
but it was good.
Yeah. So yeah, some of y'all may need to listen to this half on your commute to work,
But I was just about to say, break
and,
it up.
and the other half on your way back home.
Yeah.
Now, hey, but it's all good.
But
But
thank y'all for rocking
yeah,
with us.
thank
Thank y'all
y'all.
for tuning in and listening and supporting the podcast.
yeah, all of that. And we coming up already on the close of the season.
Yeah,
It's
we're almost
crazy.
done.
Got a few more episodes and we're gonna be done with the season. So, but until next episode, we see y'all next time. Peace. Thank y'all so much for tapping in with the Left Hand Gang podcast.
Be sure to follow, like, subscribe, and rate us.
And lastly, please don't forget to check out our website. That's lefthandgang.co for merch and ways to stay connected.
Catch you next episode.
Gang.